This is my review of Transformers Prime Robots in Disguise Voyager class Megatron. And I really do dig the design of Megatron's robot mode. The vehicle mode is meh, it's alright, but really to me the robot mode is where it's at, and I think most people would agree with that. So one thing I do want to note about this particular Megatron, I actually like the Voyager class version here better than the actual First Edition Deluxe class Megatron, and there's a couple reasons why. I think this Megatron, being a Voyager class, scales a lot better with the other Deluxe figures in the Transformers Prime line. So that's one reason. Second reason is I do like the use of the purple translucent plastic here in the forearms, as well as here in the chest area. So that is really cool. I know some people don't like that. Some people would prefer purple metallic paint, but I think it works pretty well for Megatron. Not so much in other characters or other figures from the Transformers Prime line, but for Megatron's character, I do like it. I think I like that look. So that's the reason why I like the Voyager class version so much. Now, in terms of colors, I already mentioned the fact that there's translucent plastic in terms of colors, but you do have purple paint here on the legs, on the knees, as well as on the hips there you can see, as well as part of his torso right there, so a little darker shade of purple there. And in terms of what the other color is, it's best described as a white or gray or some combination of that. But what to me is most fascinating is if you take a close look at any piece of white plastic here. I'll just call it white because I don't have a really good descriptor for what the color is. It's almost got a pearl iridescent sort of effect to the plastic, and what I mean by that is kind of shiny. If you can see that on camera, I hope you can, because it is actually a little bit shiny. Not really a chrome, not really a metallic, but more of like an iridescent, like a pearl. And even the actual plastic is not just smooth. If you take a close look, and I hope this is going to show up on camera, you can see some very fine lines, I would say thinner than a human hair, that is throughout the whole area of the plastic where it's this white color or gray color or whatever you want to call it. And that is really nice. It's almost like if you're familiar with like brushed aluminum, like they use in car parts or they use in like barbecue grills these days. It has that same type of effect. That's really nice. I really dig that a lot. So there is that. It's not just a straight plastic color. There's actually some character to it, for lack of a better term. So really nice, nice looking color combinations there. In terms of the figure, well, let's just do a little quick 360. It looks okay from the back. Now the wings here, what you can do with them is you can actually rotate them down. And what you can do, I've seen people do this, is kind of rotate them like that. Now that looks horrible from the back, but the idea is from the front, that from a certain angle you can see that that kibble is almost nearly not visible. And that's really to give more a show accurate, to make the figure more show accurate to how Megatron appeared in the actual series. I personally don't like this. I like it like this. Just my personal preference. It kind of gives him some extra shoulder armor or extra wings, if you will. That's my personal opinion. I don't care too much about, you know, show accuracy, especially if it's going to make it look horrible like it was there. So you do have a port back here. You can store the weapon. When I get to the weapons, I'll show you that, but there's a port there. And I guess now we can go into articulation. Just some more details. We'll take a look at the head sculpt. Rather the head itself has some light piping, although I don't think it actually really shines through because his eyes actually are painted over. But anyhow, you do have a pretty nice head sculpt there. Nice Decepticon symbol. Articulation, well, the head appears to be on a ball joint, so you have that articulation at his head. Shoulder armor here can move up and down, as well as there's a ball joint up there, so you can rotate this around as much as you want to. And of course you have the shoulder itself on a ball joint. There is no bicep swivel, but you do have just a bend at the elbow, no swivel. And the hand, all the hand can do is actually fold in like that. And that's for transformation and also for weapons mode, which I'll get into as well. There is no waist articulation. However, being that the hips are on ball joints, you do have a wide range of movement as you'd expect at the hips. You can see there, out to the side. There's a swivel at the thigh, a bend at the knee, but no swivel. But you do have the swivel up here, so you can get the leg like that and then bend it. And that really is all you have for articulation. One thing I do find a little bit troublesome is, and you can see it right there, there's actually two slots that this backpack pegs into. And as you can see, as I'm moving the figure around, it tends to come loose. So that's a little bit annoying. You're not going to have that problem with the figure just standing on a shelf or sitting on a shelf. When you do manipulate the figure for posing it or for review, that backpack does tend to come loose. That's kind of annoying. So moving on to Megatron's accessories or weaponry. Well, he does come with two separate weapons. He has this battle claw, which is very nicely detailed, as you can see, and he has the fusion cannon. Now, before I go on, let me say that you actually can combine the battle claw and the fusion cannon for this type of effect, much like you would have a bayonet at the end of a rifle, you know, so you have both firepower and close combat weaponry. But let me demonstrate the battle claw first. And what you would do is you'd actually take Megatron's hand here, fold it in, and plug in the battle claw on the side of the wrist guard there. So you have that type of effect, which is really nice. He really seems like he is a gladiator. And I believe there was an episode where Megatron was in this pit, and he was basically fighting against, I believe it was the Insecticons. So he was really like a gladiator in that episode. So it's nice to have this weapon. So you have that. And then you have, of course, the signature fusion cannon. And let me just show you what it does here. You push on this purple piece here. You just push in. And what happens below here, as you can see, is this type of thing happens. Well, two things really happen. You have these blades here that come out like that. And you also have a LED. And let me see, there's the LED there. I wish the LED would actually shine through the actual barrel here, but it doesn't. So that's a little bit disappointing. You can see there's the battery cover, and you just simply peg it onto the forearm. Now there's actually two places you can peg it onto, here, or I think it looks better back here like that. So you do have that weaponry for Megatron to wield against Autobots. So that's pretty cool. Okay, so I'm going to be showing you the transformation from robot into vehicle mode. The actual figure itself does come packaged in robot mode. Now, if you're not interested in seeing this, you can go ahead and skip ahead in the video to the 12-minute and 40-second time mark. And at that point, I'll be talking about the vehicle mode and my final thoughts. So if you want to go ahead and skip, please go ahead and do so. But basically here is the transformation from robot into vehicle. So you want to take these chest sections here, they're going to fold down, and just to get them out of the way for now, those chest sections are going to become the front of the vehicle mode. So looking at the arms are actually going to peg in to the back there. And then the forearms are going to connect like that. And then you're going to take the wing sections and tap those together, and you can see that's the section of the vehicle that surrounds Megatron's head in vehicle mode. So moving on to the legs. And these sections here are going to become the wings for vehicle mode. And you want to make sure that you actually flip out the little tips of the wings. They're right there and right there. So you want to make sure you do that step, as well as when you're going from the vehicle into robot mode. You just want to reverse that, of course. You can see that bends at the waist section, and the legs fold back. And here is where it becomes kind of tricky. You can see there's that shoulder armor. You want to basically rotate it around so you have the tips of those spikes facing forward. It's a little bit tricky here, but you just kind of have to arrange the shoulder armor like that. I found that works the best. So looking at the back, you'll have a slot and a tab. Those are going to connect together and basically secure what was the leg to the rest of the vehicle mode. You do that on both sides, of course. And then you take the wings here, and they also have, there's a tab, as you just saw, and a slot, and they will connect together again to secure the wing to the main part of the vehicle mode. And of course you do the same thing on the other side as well. And you do want to arch the toes in towards the center of the vehicle like that, so everything is nice and compact as it's going to get. You want to take that midsection piece and tab it in lower like that, and take what was the chest armor or the chest and rotate it forward like that, and that of course becomes the front of the vehicle mode. So I don't have a whole lot to say about the vehicle form here. It looks somewhat like the vehicle mode that we see Megatron in the actual Transformers Prime show. So that is good. And lots of purple here. You can see here we got the translucent purple, which was part of his chest in robot mode. Got the Decepticon symbol here in purple, as well as these wings here. And looks pretty nice. And if you take a look underneath, though, you can see what obviously are the legs. I mean, even if you didn't know anything about the transformation, obviously these are the legs. So there is that, but, you know, it's all right. It's a okay a vehicle mode. Obviously, I'm going to be keeping this in robot form. And you can see that Megatron's head there does stick up and is exposed and not hidden, which is all right with me. I don't mind that in a jet former like this. If it was like a vehicle, like I think we saw with one of the Armada or Energon figures, where there was actually a head sticking out of the roof of the van, I didn't really like that. But in the case of this being a jet, it kind of makes sense, I guess. So it doesn't really bother me that Megatron's, or the top of Megatron's head is exposed like that. It really doesn't bother me a lot at all. So yeah, nice, decent vehicle form, but like I said, I'll be keeping this guy in robot mode. Of course, you can still use the weapon here, and of course you could also exchange the weapon for a Dark of the Moon Mech Tech weapon and plug it in there like that. So as we look at the transformation from vehicle back into robot mode, I do want to share some of my final thoughts on the Voyager class Megatron figure. I would have to say, without a doubt, in my opinion, of all the toys in the Transformers Prime line released so far, Voyager class Megatron has to be my favorite. It's, well, I would say top 3. He's really a nice figure. Yeah, the transformation is okay, and yeah, the actual vehicle mode is okay, but really the robot mode is awesome. And recall back when you saw the size comparison of Voyager class Megatron from the Prime line as compared with the Voyager class from the Dark of the Moon line. And it was really no contest. The Voyager class Megatron from the Prime line was much taller, much bulkier than the Dark of the Moon Voyager class Megatron. So really, this toy in robot form has great shelf presence. It'll look great on your shelf. I really do like it a lot. Alright, well thanks for watching. This has been a review of Transformers Prime, Robots in Disguise, Voyager class, Megatron.